Hi guys, welcome to Vic and Vern Sports Chat. Welcome to Across the Pond. Yeah, it's Wednesday. It's that time. Back to our usual scheduling time. Wednesday, 1700 Central European time. Everything about North American sports. Hi Ronnie, I see you there as well. Once again, thanks for the sources. Listen here, on top of my head here, we have the countdown to the Super Bowl, man. Because the Super Bowl will be taking place on the 8th of February, 6:30 p.m. Eastern time. I've got the time there. That's 60 days to go. So 60 days to go. I wish it was tomorrow. I can't wait for that. But listen here, before we go on, let me put myself in the box. We know how that's done. There we go. Put the fox in the box so that we can talk about everything else. Let's have a look at the topics for today. There you go. Of course, we're going to introduce Canada because Canada is part of North America. Talk about all the professional teams in Canada. We'll do it like we did last time. We'll go through the NFL, the NHL, the NBA. We'll even have a little bit of Major League Baseball because they do have the Blue Jays. We'll add all the teams in them. I'll show you some beautiful pictures of Canada. So that's that. Email at the bottom here if you want to get hold of me. On top here, our next live show, that'll be tomorrow morning at not 1700. No, that's 700 Central European time. Some dumbass made a mistake up there. Don't worry about it. So that's the topics, that's everything. But listen here. As you can see on the picture here with me, I'm going to just quickly put it like that. There you go. Let's put those topics back out there for you guys that you can actually see them. Beautiful Niagara Falls in the background. I have been to the Niagara Falls with a very good friend of mine. It's beautiful there. A little further up, you can go to St. Catharines on the lake. Fantastic. The Canadians obviously have the best part of Niagara Falls, the horseshoe. You know, went on one of those boats. What are they called? The Maiden of the Mist, or the Mist Maiden. I can't remember. I think it's Maiden of the Mist. You get like this pillar, whatever, to put over, and you go really close to it. You can actually walk under the falls, as you can see there on that little station there. Goes down with the lift, and then you can walk under the falls. It's really nice. It is really nice. Beautiful place there. Beautiful country. But I'm gonna introduce a little bit of Canada first. Yes, I could. Let's talk about it. Obviously, the capital is Ottawa, so let's put out Ottawa out there. Look at that beautiful Indian summer there. Ottawa, capital of Canada. For most people, do know that Canada is English and bonjour, yes, French as well. There's been a kind of a Canadian French. 41 million people live in Canada, so yeah, not a lot of people for the second biggest country in the world. Canada National Day 1867. They split away from the British. Biggest city, Toronto. So yeah, let's put out Toronto there. Been up there as well. That's quite frightening. They have this glass platform there on the CN Tower. You can look down. I mean, how do you say? A big bus. You know those. How do you say? Greyhound buses or whatever you call them. I mean, when you look down from there, it doesn't look bigger than a matchbox. I can tell you that. Bloody high that tower. Something like, I think it's 400 meters if I got it correctly in my head. Of course, that's Toronto. Then yeah. Look, I'm not going to get it. When you go to Canada, I mean, you have to see a moose, right? Bloody, we saw one when we were driving, and those things are massive, man. When you're growing up and you're not from Canada, you're like a moose, you think of a moose, maybe the size of a cow. Bloody things the size of an elephant, man. Those things are massive, man, those mooses. So yeah, you got to check that out. Of course, beautiful place like Vancouver, and the whole Vancouver Island area is beautiful. On my bucket list is still one day to go to Banff. Then, of course, you have Stanley Park, Ripley's Aquarium, Jasper National Park. Churchill should be interesting. It's worth a visit, so go to Canada. Go to Canada, guys. As they would say in Canada. But, that's kind of that. Huh? Then, just want to get into it. We have 119,636 subscribers, so thanks a lot. That moose looks like, it does, it's a bloody, look, I'm going to put it out there again. Look at that, man. That's a car, that's a moose. Those things are bloody massive, man. And that one's still got a small little, how do you say, horns on him or whatever you call that. Those things are big, man. Those horns are like 3 meters apart, man. And they can be nasty, those animals, The rest of Canada, Canadians are always well-mannered, polite, quiet. I'm not going to say anything else. Different to their neighbors in the south. You know, they're very laid back, quiet, stuff like that. Not loud at all, you know, different. Canadians are just different. But let's get into it. Look, Canada does not have an NFL team yet. I don't know if they'll ever have an NFL team, but let's have a look at the NFL last week. So we're going to start off. There you go. Look, what a week of NFL. Some of the big teams are just not doing well. I mean, look, I still got that wrong. The Bengals did lose to the Bills, 39-34. Seahawks doing well. The Cowboys not going to make the playoffs. The Colts is looking bad for them at the moment. The Vikings looking very impressive. Then if we move on, I mean, look, Ravens, whoa, are they going to make the playoffs? Eagles not looking good either. That was the Thursday night game. Chiefs in trouble. I mean, at the beginning of the season, you would have had Eagles, Chiefs, Ravens, Cowboys. You would have had them all on the list to, maybe even the Bengals, you would have had on the list for making the playoffs. This is not the case at the moment, guys. This is not the case. So let's go have, oh, I hope I got this right now. Did I put it out there? No, is that right? Okay, must be. There you go. So you have the AFC East. Still my Patriots out in front against the Bills. I think both those teams make the playoffs. So let's count. That's 2 for the AFC already. Then in the AFC North, I think the Steelers make it and no one else out of that group. So either Baltimore or the Steelers. So that's 3 already in the books. Then we look there in the South. Jacksonville, Texans, and the Colts. I think 2 out of 3 are going to make it. So we're going to have 5 there. And then we look in the West. And I think 2 make it in the West. So, yeah. Can't see the Chiefs. No, Chiefs aren't making the playoffs. They've lost 4 out of the last 5. Chiefs have done. Their run as a dynasty is over. Yeah. It's over, my friends. They're in Kansas City. Then let's have a look at the NFC. I mean, look. Eagles are not doing that great, but they're just going to win this division by default because the other teams are not very good. Let's put it that way. In the North, the Packers are strong. The Bears and the Lions, I think, again here, 2 out of 3 are going to make it. The divisional champion will obviously make it. I'm still going Packers, Lions, but we'll see. Then in the NFC South, that's a toss-up between Tampa Bay and the Panthers. I'm hoping for Tampa Bay. Falcons are not going to be in it. They should be already eliminated. And in the West, there's the big one, the NFC West. I can see 3 teams coming through here sometime. Maybe 3 teams, depending on the rest of the schedule. Rams looking good. I mean, look, quarterback from the Rams there, Matthew Stafford playing out of his skin. Seattle playing well. Should be interesting to see what happens there. But let's have a look at the playoff picture at the moment. This is your picture as it stands. If the playoffs were tomorrow, so the Broncos and the Rams would have byes in the AFC and the NFC. And then, of course, the other 7 teams there. 2 will play 7, 3 will play 6, 4 will play 5. So at the moment, we have Steelers, Chargers, Buccaneers, Seahawks on the other side. Going to be a lot of interesting games there, a lot of interesting games. But let's move on to week 15 before we get into all the stats. Let's have a look at week 15, top part of week 15. Falcons, Buccaneers must win for the Buccaneers if they want a playoff. Bears, same thing. I can see that being a potential banana skin for the Bengals against the Ravens. Chargers, Chiefs. I give Chiefs about 2% chance of making the playoffs if the Chiefs, they don't win this against the Chargers, it's over, it's done. Bills, Patriots, that's going to be a big one. That's going to be for who wins the AFC East there. Commanders, Giants, Commanders should win that one. Raiders, Eagles, going with the Eagles. Jets, Jaguars of course. Then there are no byes anymore, so everybody's playing. Cardinals, Texans, easy win for the Texans. That's a big one. Green Bay against the Broncos. Lions against the Rams. Panthers shouldn't have a problem against the Saints. Same for the 49ers against the Colts. The Colts better win against the Seahawks, otherwise the season is over, but I can't see it happening. Winning there in Seattle is very tough. Vikings, Cowboys. Vikings still have a chance. I don't think it matters for the Cowboys, and the Steelers better beat the Dolphins if they want to keep that number 1 spot. in the NFL. Let's have a quick look at the stats. Best yards in the NFL, Dak Prescott with 3,637. Best touchdown to interception ratio is Matthew Stafford, 35 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. Unbelievable. Look at Patrick Mahomes, has got 10 interceptions already this season. Very uncharacteristic for him. Easy win for my Panthers and Dolphins. Oh my Lord. Panthers, yes. Dolphins, no. Then Jonathan Taylor, he's at 1,356 yards rushing, already got 16 touchdowns. He's one of the main factors for the Colts actually being a good team this year. And then we go to the receiving, and Trey McBride up front there with 8 touchdowns. Oh, I didn't update that. Okay. Nakuno, he's got 1,186 yards. McCaffrey doing well. Yeah, we'll see. That's just the stats. Then we move into the NBA quickly, and those are the few games of last night. I'm not going to go into depth. I've mentioned them all this morning. You guys check that out. Those are some of the top results I picked out from this week. But let's move into the East there, and the beast in the East is the Detroit Pistons. I'm glad to see that the bad boys are back of Detroit. Those were the days there in the Silverdome in Michigan there. That was fantastic with Chuck Daly and Dennis Rodman and Joe Dumars, Isaiah Thomas. I hope those days are back again. The Knicks, I feel like I've gone back in time. When you say the Knicks, the Pistons and the Celtics are on top. The last few years you were hearing teams like the Heat, the Raptors, but now it's the old boys that are back up top of the league there in the East. In the West, can we not talk about the Thunder? Because the Thunder just destroying the league. 23-1. Lakers doing well. Denver doing well. Not too bad. So that's fine. And again, of course, the Mavericks and the Clippers are just 2 terrible teams. Got one of the highest wages in the NBA and not doing well at all. Let's have a quick look before we go into the first teams that play professional in Canada in the big leagues. But let's have a look at the points. Look, it's Luka Doncic with 35 points a game. That's quite impressive. Shea Gilgeous doing well, Tyrese Maxey, Donovan Mitchell, and in fifth spot it's Nikola Jokic with 29.2. Because I mentioned Nikola Jokic's name because when we get into the assists, Nikola Jokic is number 1 ahead of Cade Cunningham there, and in rebounds Nikola Jokic is number 1. So for me it's clear that Nikola Jokic should be the MVP of the season so far. Some steals there. Look at the guys in the steals. Kayson Wallace with 2.3 steals doing well for himself. And in the blocks department, it's still Jay Huff of Indiana with 2.5 blocks. He needs to have about 25 blocks a game for Indiana to start doing well. So let's talk about the first professional Canadian team that there is. That is the Toronto Raptors. Because in the NBA, look, let's give you some info on the Raptors there. Play in the Eastern Conference Atlantic Division, founded in 1995. They were actually founded in the same year as the Vancouver Grizzlies, who now are the Memphis Grizzlies. They play in the Scotia Bank Arena there in Toronto, Ontario. Give you some more information on them. Now I can leave that one out there. There you go. General manager is Bobby Webster. The head coach is Darko Rajakovic. What else? They've won one championship, 2019. They did win that with Kawhi Leonard and the boys. They've won a conference title. So, yeah. And I think the only number that they ever retired was number 15. That must be Vince Carter there. Talking about Vince Sanity. Air Canada was his how do you say, his extra name there. Canadians are civilized enough to play basketball. Yeah, they are, man. They are. Canadians doing well, man. One of the best players in the world is Canadian, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. Yeah, Vince Sanity, he put them on the map at the beginning. Then it came along Chris Bosh before he decided to take his talents to South Beach. I'm going to mention Danny Green because I think he played a big part in winning that first championship for them. But I think the main guy for winning that championship was Kawhi Leonard. So the Raptors with one championship. That is your first professional team in Canada there, the Raptors. Then we move on to baseball because we're not got any statistics or anything in baseball. Move on to the Blue Jays, Toronto. Have a look at the Toronto Blue Jays. I'll put out the information all there at once. Playing the American League, East Division. Look, World Series titles. They've won 2. 99, 92 and 93. were in the World Series this year, just lost out to the LA Dodgers. Managers John Schneider, I like them a lot. I like them a lot. Look, these are their superstars of old. Roy Halladay, of course. And if you guys are asking, there's so many more I could mention, but I'm mentioning people that I actually still know in my lifetime. I can't go back to 1904 or something like that, or people that I've never heard of. So I'm putting the ones I know. So, of course, Roy Halladay, Jose Bautista, of course, can't leave him out of a Toronto lineup. Then, there we go. We'll start with Vladimir Guerrero Jr. What a slugger the man is. And his counterpart there, Trey Savage, the pitcher. Like him a lot, man. Like him a lot. So that's your Toronto Blue Jays. Then let's move into the NHL. And there's a lot to get into then. Because the Canadiens, I'm going to tell you, they got 2, 4, 6, they got 7 teams in the NHL. I mean, Canada is... There's 2 sports that Canada is world famous for, in my eyes. Ice hockey and curling. Curling. These boys and girls are good in curling. I mean, every second world championship has to be in Canada because Canada is like the most dominant sport in curling. I mean, what bowling is to the US, 10-pin bowling. Canada, there's like ice rinks for curling everywhere in the bloody country. They all curl. They all curl. But let's have a look at the NHL. Those were the results from last night. Not a good night for the Canadiens. As you can see, the Oilers lost, the Canadiens lost, the Senators lost, the Jets lost. So not a good night for them. But check out the results. I'm going to go through all of them. If you watch our morning shows, you will see that we did all those results in the morning. But let's have a look at the table quickly. And in the East, look, Tampa Bay Lightning out in front with Boston Bruins in the Atlantic. In the Metropolitan, it's the Washington Capitals against the Carolina Hurricanes. The best Canadian team in the East is the Montreal Canadiens there, doing well. So we'll see what happens there. Then we move out into the West. And Central Division, you have the Avalanche, the Stars, and the Wild. The Minnesota Wild, interesting team to mention because one of the Canadian teams that we're going to mention before went from Winnipeg to Minnesota, became the North Stars, and North Stars went to Dallas. I mean, that's the only thing I don't like sometimes in American sports. They move the flipping franchises around. Terrible. And in the Pacific, you still have the Ducks ahead of the Golden Knights. Calgary, Vancouver at the bottom there, not looking good at all. But early days in the NFL. Let's have a look at the top scorers. It's still Nathan McKinnon out there with 52 points. That is points, that's assists and goals combined. Talking just about goals, McKinnon's on top there with 24 from the Colorado Avalanche. And the best goalkeeper in the league is still Jesper Wallstedt. Only conceding 1.95 goals per game. So well done to him. There you go. But let's start off slowly but surely with all these Canadian franchises. I mean, look, we're going to start off with the Toronto Maple Leafs. There we go. We'll put them out. We'll give you the info on the Maple Leafs. There you go. They were founded in 1917, actually as the Toronto Arenas, then the Toronto St. Patrick's, and then since 1927. So 100 years in 2 years' time, we have the Toronto Maple Leafs. Interesting franchise. Look, the head coach is Greg Berube. Captain is Austin Matthews. What a player that man is. Stanley Cups. They've won 13 Stanley Cups. Unbelievable. So, check that out. That's a lot of Stanley Cups. Who are their main stars? I've just mentioned a few. Then, of course, the man Daryl Sittler. He was fantastic for the Maple Leafs. Then, of course, you cannot count out this man. This very much in my generation, Mats Sundin, the Swede. I mean, he was epic. And now they got their new boy there, Austin Matthews. The man is a machine, man. And one of the best that is out there at the moment in the NHL. Then, we've got to move on. Their big rivals, for me, is their biggest rival of the Maple Leafs is the Montreal Canadiens. Put out some infos on the Canadiens. They were founded in 1909. And they've always been the Montreal Canadiens. They started off in the NHA, the National Hockey Association. That was in 1910 till 1970. And then they joined the NHL in 1970. They play out of the Bell Center there as well. Give you some more information on them. They are the number one team in hockey as it is. They've won 24 Stanley Cups. I mean, no one's even close to coming to 24. Oh, that's my wife, always phoning during my shows. I'm live, can I help you? Okay, all right, bye-bye. You got to pick up the phone, otherwise, happy wife, happy life. But 24 Stanley Cups, really impressive. Let's have a look at a few of the iconic players. Guy Lafleur. They still played without helmets in those days. I could still remember the beginning of that when if you wore a helmet, you were looked upon as being soft, No one will do that. Then, of course, their iconic goalkeeper, Patrick Roy. I got two pictures of him because I thought you got to show the man. That's Patrick Roy today. For me, one of the three best goalkeepers ever to play the game of ice hockey. And then, of course, their new young star there is Cole Caulfield. Fantastic young talent there. I think Montreal should be coming back up the ladder. If they can get a few more talents like that, they're going to be all right. Then out west, we have the Vancouver Canucks. Take away quickly the logo there. A lot of people in Canada frown a little bit on about the West Coast, Hockey is kind of like this East Coast central type part of Canada. But we do have the Vancouver Canucks out there. Cool franchise there on the west coast of Canada. Info to the Vancouver Canucks. Well, they were founded in 1945 and they joined the NHL in 1970 as part of the NHL expansion, playing the Pacific Division. Of course, that's in the Western Conference. They've always been the Vancouver Canucks. They played in the PCHL first, then they played in the WHL. And like I said, 1970, they went into the NHL. More information on the Canucks. Never won a Stanley Cup. Never won. Adam Fute is their head coach. I like him a lot. Was a great player as well. They've never won a Stanley Cup, so that's something they would like to do one day. Iconic players for them. Pavel Bure. I mean, one of the first Russians, that of the new young Russian generation to go over to play for in the NHL. He really mixed up the league. Massive player, scoring machine. And then, of course, these two, baby. It's like me. It's like Vic and Vern. It's like me and Vern. The Sandin brothers, man. Look, they were. Oh, just one second, quickly. Matt Sundin and his brother was. I think it was Jesper Sundin. If I got it, I didn't write it down now. But the Sundin brothers, they changed hockey in Canada. They in Vancouver. They put Vancouver on the map. And of course, the iconic goalkeeper Roberto Longo. I remember him because he played a season or two in Switzerland as well. So I was lucky enough to see this man play live. Great goalkeeper there for the Canucks. Then we move on. The Ottawa Senators, one of the younger teams in the franchise there. They were founded in 1992. It's always been the Ottawa Senators. They joined the NHL straight away when it was an expansion once again. Senators haven't won a Stanley Cup either. Their captain is a monster, Brady Tkachuk. Unbelievable. The man is unbelievable. You'll see him now. I've only got two guys there. You got to mention Daniel Alfredsson for the Senators. The history is not as astute as other teams, but he was a monster for them. But this man is just going from record to record to record for the Senators. Most games, most goals, most everything. Fantastic player. Then the next franchise. Look, what else is there in Canada? You can't get past ice hockey if you don't mention the Edmonton Oilers. Because in my generation, when we were kids, everybody wanted to be an Edmonton Oiler. And we would argue on which of the three stars at those days you wanted to be. But let's have a look at those Edmonton Oilers. Playing in the Pacific, of course it's in the state of Alberta. They were the Alberta Oilers from 1972 to 1973. Then they changed the name to the Edmonton Oilers. and they joined the NHL in 1979. The Edmonton Oilers have won 5 Stanley Cups, and if you can see, they won all their Stanley Cups in the 80s, and you can guess why they won it all in the 80s, because these 3 guys, and I'm going to start not with the great one. This man there, Yuri Curry. I mean, when we were kids, and you used to have there's table hockey games and stuff. Again, it was like, I always wanted to be the Edmonton Oilers, and I always wanted my 3 front players, Yuri Curry, Mark Messier, and of course, the great one, Wayne Gretzky. I mean, everybody wanted to be Gretzky, the iconic number 9, all-time points leader in the NHL. Goal scoring he's been caught by Alexander Ovechkin, but I don't think his point scoring will be. I think Ovechkin will have to play till he's 70 to get that. Man, the great one, Wayne Gretzky. And all their hopes these days of the Edmonton Oilers are on Connor McDavid. An iconic player, this man. This man is fantastic, man. Can he reach Gretzky heights? Most probably not. No, I don't think anybody will ever reach Wayne Gretzky's haul of points. I don't think so. Then, of course, you do have the Calgary Flames. Calgary, famous, of course, for the Olympics that were held there. Remember the movie there, or with the Jamaican bobsled? That was filmed in Calgary as well. That is the Calgary Flames. They are at home there. Give you some information. They play in the Pacific Division. They were once called the Atlanta Flames. Atlanta Flames, there you go. And they moved into Calgary in 1980, and they've been there ever since. Calgary Flames have won 1 Stanley Cup. They have won a Stanley Cup. That was in the 80s, when if you weren't playing for a Canadian team, you're not winning a Stanley Cup. They've won 2 President's Trophies, 8 divisional championships. Quite a good thing. For me, my iconic player there, Jerome Igilna. Oh man, I loved this guy when he was growing up. Fantastic hockey player. First I would say, European player that really put hockey on the map. He was unbelievable goal scorer. Then you cannot count out Joe Nieuwendyk. I mean, what he did for the Flames over so many years, almost more than a decade, played well. The goalkeeper, Mike Vernon. There's another one you got to maybe say in the top 3 of all-time goalkeepers, really well. And then today, their man is Rasmus Andersson. He just does everything for them. He's the main reason the Calgary Flames, if Calgary Flames win anything, it's because of Rasmus Andersson. What a great player. Then we move on. Listen, we got one more. We got one more team there in Canada, eh? And that is the Winnipeg Jets. Now, the Winnipeg Jets story is crazy, because this is a new Winnipeg Jets. There were the Winnipeg Jets before. They went to... Take a sip of water. The Winnipeg Jets moved to Minnesota when the Minnesota North Stars moved to Dallas. Then they become the Minnesota... Can't remember, what was that called? Minnesota, can't get the name. Was it the Minnesota Stars? I can't remember. But then Winnipeg didn't have an ice hockey franchise for a few years. And then in 1999, the Atlanta Thrashers, yes, there was a team in Atlanta from 99 till 2011. And they moved to Winnipeg and they became the Winnipeg Jets. So the Winnipeg got an NHL franchise, which was cool. Winnipeg play in the province of Manitoba, just to let you know that. Never won a Stanley Cup. Won one President's Trophy. So not a lot going on there, but it's a very young franchise as well. But they've had a few iconic players. I can remember this man's name always being mentioned on TV. Dale Howard-Chuck. Mr. Winnipeg Jet for me, Mr. Winnipeg Jet. And now, these days, I mean, Mr. Winnipeg Jet these days is definitely Mark Scheifele. This man, most goals, most appearances, most bloody everything when it comes to Winnipeg. I mean, there's not a person in Winnipeg that doesn't know who this man is. I mean, he is a walking icon, goat, whatever, of Winnipeg ice hockey. So that's him. And I had to mention this guy because, of course, being here in Switzerland, Nino Reiter, playing now for the Winnipeg Jets. So Nino, if you're watching this program, Gish gas, gal. Nino's doing well there in Winnipeg. I'd like to see the Jets win something, but that's kind of my roundup for today. It's a half an hour in the book. Don't forget, guys. Let me switch back quickly. Oh, I got to switch back there. Do it like that. There we go. We'll take me out the box. We'll put me in the big one. Here we go. Switch it over. The fox is gonna leave the box here. There you go. Look up top here. Don't forget, 60 days, 5 hours, 29 minutes, and 15 seconds to go until the Super Bowl. Can't wait for that one. I'm still hoping my Patriots are in the Super Bowl. Would be nice, but that's it, guys. Join us tomorrow morning over there for the daily sports update show at 700 Central European time. Thanks for watching the show, guys. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the notification button. And I can tell you next week, you will not want to miss the show because we are doing the state of Massachusetts. And what does that mean? Only one thing. Boston Celtics. Tom Brady and the Patriots. I mean, the Bruins, the Red Sox those four that I've just mentioned, could they be the most four iconic franchises point blank in North America? I mean, for me, the Patriots are NFL royalty. The Patriots are NFL's America's team. The Celtics may be the greatest franchise ever in basketball. The Bruins, really fantastic franchise. And of course, the Red Sox. What can you say about the Red Sox that hasn't been said? So that's going to be a great show. We have a lot of time to get into because there's not a lot of professional teams in the state of Massachusetts. They're all based in Boston. So we'll check that out. But be sure to join us for that. So see you guys next Wednesday, same time, same place, here on Vic and Vern Sports Chat. Ciao, guys.